Greetings everyone! Here we go again, the Starfish Academy show Moneylogy, and actually today we have a small anniversary. It's a 10th show already, which we do together with Fala Aromaya. Yeah, hi Fala.
Hi everybody, good to see you.
Greetings everyone. Just a short reminder for those who watch our show why we do this and who we are. So we are financial freedom experts and we wish to be your financial guides towards financial freedom as well, because our mission is to help people to achieve financial freedom through business or investing while living a harmonious life. So here in this show we also share our own experience, our thoughts about steps which are necessary to achieve financial freedom, and hope that these ideas can be useful also for you as well. So in each show we have a topic to share with you, and this show is also the same. So today's topic is related to quite popular question about financial bubbles. What are the financial bubbles and how this term is defined? So basically maybe it's also worth starting with a term in Starfish Academy vocabulary, where we define the financial bubble as this. So basically financial or investment bubble is a sharp rise in the price of some specific financial asset, let's say real estate or cryptocurrency like Bitcoin or whatever other asset class, which can be both short or also quite long. And at some point it gains momentum and then suddenly ends in decline to a similar level or even lower level than it was before the bubble. So this is basically the definition of the bubble itself, and the question is always, is it a bubble now, or what to do if the bubble is approaching, or what to do if the bubble is already there, and how to understand, is it a bubble, and what could be these steps which help me or help you also to be on the winner side during a bubble. So Vala, what are your thoughts about current economical situation and bubbles in general? What could be this steps for people to be on the winner side during a bubble? And is the bubble in general, it's only a danger, or it's also a possibility for people? What are your thoughts about it?
Yeah, so like you mentioned in the vocabulary, it's basically the situation when the price of the asset rises like far above the real value. So one way to realize if it's a bubble or not is to really look at the fundamentals, and if the prices are getting way above the fundamentals, then there is a high risk that there is a bubble. And also, if you look back in history, there has been some bigger bubbles, like lately, the dot-com bubble in the late 1990s, the IT and the technology startups, and then also the US real estate bubble before the last crisis. So it's always when everybody is getting to the market and believing that the prices will only go up. And then when the mass is gonna get there, then suddenly the bubble bursts and everybody come down with the prices.
Exactly. So we basically can see bubbles in any asset classes, probably in paper assets, in real estate. Quite recently, it was also a few years ago in Bitcoin and just cryptocurrency in general. And let's say if we see now the prices rising also, is it also can be called as a bubble already, or there are some other reasons also for price to goes up? Because you mentioned fundamentals, so basically how to understand is the price okay on the fundamental level, or the reason for price to go up is different, let's say printing money.
Yeah, exactly. So this printing money, makes the picture even more complex. But for example, in the stock market, you can always look at the PE ratio of the companies, and if it historically, if it's usually between 15, maybe up to 20 when it's high, and if you find that the PE ratio is 30, or it's 500, like with Tesla for example right now, then it can't last forever and it has to come down. Just the question is when it's going to come down. Can you still get part of the ride up, or you're just smart enough to get out of it before it bursts? So I think the biggest challenge is that there's a lot of maybe beginning investors who believe that the markets will always go up, and usually they will get their first lessons through that.
Exactly. Basically, in real estate, there is also possibility how to evaluate is if the prices are too high. You can basically count the number of years, how many years of income is necessary to buy the real estate for a person. And if it's too high, let's say 15 years or more, then it means that the prices are too high also already. Anyway, probably we would agree on this, that each bubble is also a possibility for people if they are prepared for doing a certain action. And let's say when the bubble is burst, the prices usually, like we also mentioned in the definition, goes down quite significantly, and then people can buy the real estate, paper assets, cryptocurrency, or any other asset class much cheaper. And gain bigger gains from return on investment because of that. So what could be these first steps for people to be more prepared for bubbles? Doesn't matter when it comes. Is it now the bubble or it will be in the future? What are your thoughts about it?
Well, I think it comes down still to the financial education and understanding the fundamentals, because if you look at the situation right now, everybody understands that the situation in the world is not normal and economies are not doing well. At the same time, all the indexes and prices of different asset classes are basically their all-time high. So now the question is that how long it's going to last, and if it's a smart thing to be on the market, or maybe be outside of the market right now, and when the first, then it's actually a great time to buy assets with a discount. And usually what they say is that you usually make the profit when you buy, not when you sell. So for example, somebody's financial education and fundamentals tells that the bubble is there, then maybe it's wiser to look it from the side and wait for the buying opportunity.
Exactly. By the way, those who watch our show, you can always write your questions in the comments below the video, and we will be more than happy to answer the questions during a show or in the next show, depending on when you write the comments. So feel free to write the comments up below the video, and also it can be suggestions for us for upcoming shows, the topics which are interesting for you. So just feel free to write the comments, and we will be covering these questions in the end of the show. Coming back to the topic, what you mentioned. Also, I would add that probably the bubbles are more dangerous for those who expect only to get benefit from price rising, so capital gains. Because if you focus on the cash flow side, which means that you are willing to get a steady cash flow coming each month or each week or each quarter, doesn't matter, from the asset which you buy, this price waving up and down is not so important for you, because if you are happy with the cash flow, you can wait for a bubble to burst, you can wait for price to go back again to the higher level, and so on. So basically understanding the difference between cash flow and the capital gain side is also probably one of the steps which can help people to be more safer in the bubbles, and also to be more prepared for the opportunities which comes with the bubbles.
Yeah, and then you can always short the stock, and you can also play that the market comes down. So there's a lot of instruments actually you can use when you have enough financial education. And what makes it current situation difficult is that there are some asset classes which are going up because they are printing so much money, and then some asset classes are going up also because it's basically like a hedge against printing. So for example, gold and silver, that if you think that government is going to continue printing money and you want to protect yourself against inflation, then it's logical that the price of gold is going up. But also the same money goes to the stock market and just makes it as a bubble, because it has to go somewhere because there's so much money around. So
Exactly.
it's really understanding the macro picture of everything and how maybe different asset classes are related to each other, and then making your own kind of decision what's the right thing to do.
Yeah, so basically what you are saying and what we're experiencing now in the current economical situation, that it seems that even the prices which was already high before the Corona should go down, but because of printing money actions from the governments in probably all around the world, they are still going high. And it was interesting also situation in our country when the first pandemic quarantine came in. A lot of people was thinking that real estate prices will start to go down, but because of a decision to print more money and to put specific means for businesses to be supported because of the damage from Corona, the prices stayed on the same level and even started to go higher again. So it's quite an interesting situation. It seems that it's already the bubble and it should burst, but because of actions from the governments, the bubble are going to be more higher and higher. And the question is only when it bursts and what happens then.
Yeah, it's basically the burst is delayed because there's so much money coming into the market. So yeah, and of course, as I said, you have to look different asset classes. So for example, if you look at crypto, there are maybe some reasons why it has going up, because some big institutions have given some credibility more than ever. So maybe that's the reason. But if you look at the Dow Jones index or SP 500, I mean, if you look at the world in December 2019, are we stronger or less stronger economically? So probably less, but the indexes are all-time high. So
Exactly.
In a way, it doesn't make sense.
Yeah, I believe one of the easiest ways how to find out if we are in the bubble or not is ask a taxi driver where to invest in, and then if he advises you to invest in specific asset classes, it means that in this asset class there is a bubble already. So let's say 2 years ago, when cryptocurrency was in the bubble, actually probably you can ask a taxi driver the advice and he would advise you to invest cryptocurrencies. And like you said, currently the reasons is different. It's not because taxi drivers are investing there, but because more institutional investors start to see that there as a real asset class as well, like a Bitcoin or other cryptocurrency.
And I think also right now it's like because especially during the last few years and especially this year, there's a lot of like beginning investors are allowed to the marketplace, like portals like Robinhood and stuff like that. So basically everybody can get into the game with a really small amount, and if it's like a huge like a new audience which is entering the market and they don't know exactly how the investing works, then you can call it the silly money, but it looks like the silly money has entered to the market more than ever, and this is definitely also part of the reason why prices are so high.
Exactly. So just one more time, a reminder for those who watch our show, just feel free, don't be afraid to write your comments below below the video. Feel free to ask your questions and we will be more than happy to help you to get an answer to it. And summarizing probably the steps which would be necessary in order to be on the winner side, is it a bubble or is it not, it still comes down, like Bala and me said, to financial literacy. And if you always, first of all, invest in your financial intelligence and rising your financial intelligence, expanding the understanding about different asset classes, about the reasons why the price is going up or down, and moreover, even getting more clarity which asset classes would be useful and suitable for you to invest, then you can be always more ready, more prepared, and feel more safe during any bubble or waiting for a bubble.
Yeah, I think the best advice right now is not to take anybody's advice except your own, and that's why you need financial education, because you need to understand the big picture and the macro, and if you're interested in economy and investing, I think it will come naturally, and after a while you will actually start to see the connections between the asset classes and especially now when everybody's going up, then it's really hard to know who to follow and whose advice to take. So that's why you should rely only on yourself.
Exactly, and that's why the goal of our show is not to give you any advice, but to help you to extend your understanding about the topics and find your own answers. And I would say that financial literacy is exactly about, first of all, a broader context and possibility to find an answer for yourself, or also to understand if the advice which is given to you by somebody is good for you or it's good for him. Because quite often the advice which is given by financial advisors is not useful for you, but it's useful for him. And also it helps you with a higher level of financial intelligence, also helps you to select the advisors. is the advisor is good or is advisor is bad. So starting from this point, you can come up with your own answers and with your own decisions, how to prepare and what to do in order to be on the winner side in any economical situation.
Yeah, just to stay as a critical observer and still make your own decisions.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so this was the topic today for this show. Like I said, if you feel that you have any questions, even if you watch the recording of the show, or if you have any suggestions for us for upcoming topics for other shows, feel free to comment below the video. We will be more than happy to cover these topics in our upcoming shows. And also, if you want to watch any of the previous shows, you can find them on YouTube channel as well as Starfish Academy Facebook page and Instagram account. So feel free to follow us on these accounts. Comment your questions and suggestions for upcoming shows in the comments on any of these channels, and we will meet you in the next show exactly the same time, the same day, next week. So thank you for watching and see you next week.
A great week.
Bye bye.